in the Michelob Ultra Roadhouse on Simmons Bank Plaza. Go to FWSSR.com for more information. It's the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo presented by North Texas Chevy Dealers, Reliant, Choctaw Casinos and Resorts, Dickies, Simmons Bank, and Texas Health. The Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. This thing is legendary.
Are you in the market for a new Toyota or pre-owned Toyota? Look no further than Toyota Afar. They have extensive selection of Toyota cars and Toyota trucks and Toyota SUVs, along with exceptional customer service every step of the way. Number to call, 956-815-2285.
It's the New Year, New Drive event at Toyota Afar, and the savings are starting strong. Kick off the year in a Tacoma for just $95 a month, or take home a powerful Tundra for only $295. Plus, explore even more amazing New Year offers across our entire Toyota lineup. Start 2026 with the perfect new ride. Visit us at Toyota at 1625 West Interstate 2 in Far. Shop online at toyotaafar.com or call 956-815-2285. Toyota Afar, son buena gente.
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer at the Payne Arena on Friday, May 1st.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show.
Don't miss Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, May 1st at the Payne Arena. Make sure you're listening for your chance to win a pair of front row seats.
Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com. Again, that's careers.progressive.com.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. President Trump weighing his options in the Middle East as the administration considers the next step with Iran.
We are learning from military sources that the U.S. is sending at least one aircraft carrier to that region right now. We don't know yet if it's going to be the USS Abraham Lincoln that's currently in the South China Sea, or if it's one of the two carriers that just left Norfolk.
White House correspondent Aisha Hasney, Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, in court today. His legal team wants to disqualify the Utah County Attorney's Office from the case since a prosecutor's adult child was at the event when Kirk was gunned down. A nightmare commute in Tokyo. A power outage slams train service affecting about 673,000 riders. First responders had to escort some passengers out of stranded trains and walk along the tracks to safety. America's listening to Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. It'll be breezy this morning, otherwise mainly sunny and warmer today with a high of 82. Winds from the southeast at 8 to 16 miles per hour. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, the low 49 to 59. Winds southwest 6 to 12 miles an hour. Another breezy start to the day tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high of 57 to 67. Intervals of clouds and sunshine on Sunday, the high near 65 degrees. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carrie Schwendenhammer on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. The Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez. Rapid fire headlines.
Reporting to you from the Mid-Valley. We're here accompanying the good folks from the Rioplex Economic Development, the Private Sector Economic Development Initiative. I'm Sergio Sanchez, the Sergio Show, and let's take care of some of the news I was unable to read this morning. OpenAI investing in a brain-computer interface. The world of sci-fi becoming a reality. We will see this in our lifetime. How much? I go back to the question I asked producer Freddie. If you had a chance to download pretty much your memories and your consciousness into a computer, would you, Freddie? Would you do it? Of course, the answer would be no, because Jesus is going to take her soul. Okay, so OpenAI is they're working to compete against Elon Musk and his Neuralink and other efforts to create a brain-computer interface. TechCrunch reporting that OpenAI is the biggest investor, $250 million seed money in order to create their Merge Labs. In Florida, the old Space Coast, because we're the new Space Coast here at Brownsville, NASA is going to be rolling out Artemis 2 this weekend. It's preparation for the next moon mission, going to launch pad 39B at the Kennedy Cape. And they're hoping to launch Artemis, another test flight, in February. And I go back to my monologue from 3 days ago. NASA, the old way of doing things, bureaucracy, government. SpaceX, or neighbor Elon Musk, the new way of doing things. Multiple rocket launches, just waiting for NASA to catch up. H.E. Butt in the news, H.E.B., claiming the top spot when it comes to grocery stores. Oh, congratulations, H.E. Butt. A new customer service data company releasing their 9th annual retailer preference index. And according to their write-up, H-E-B is number 1 in Texas. They also do national rankings. Let's see. There's a newly created map of folks at Boston Children's Hospital and Harvard School of Medicine. Other folks came together with this project, showing you the hotspots in the nation when it comes to measles, in case you're traveling. Actor Matthew McConaughey is pushing back against deep fakes. So Matthew McConaughey successfully trademarked his famous catchphrase, all right, all right, all right. Not to be confused with Rush Limbaugh, right on, right on, right on. So McConaughey has had 8 trademark applications approved over the past several months. Over half of Americans say that President Trump's first year in office was not a success. 58% said, no, it wasn't a success. Who did the poll? Take a guess, Freddie. Who did the poll? As the president says, fake news, fake news. It was CNN. And remember that guy, that worker at that Michigan plant who made the news this week, who yelled at President Trump? President Trump was out walking the rafters. Something's up there somewhere. And this guy who worked for Ford on the production floor yelled at President Trump something like pedophile protector, something like that. And then the president pointed at him and said, bloop, F you, bloop, F you. And gave him he told him, you're number 1 with the right finger. Right? Well, again, there is no shortage of Trump haters in this country. They took to social media. I think this guy got suspended or this worker got reprimanded, something like that. Well, wouldn't you know, there are 2 GoFundMe sites. This guy is up to $800,000 in donations for him hating on Trump. So, I love our country. I love America. We're in the Mid-Valley with the private sector economic development push known as Rioplex. This is the brainchild of our friend, Mr. Spommer, Joaquin Spommer. And we got about two dozen ambassadors that are here, local business owners, folks who are, folks expert in finance and folks who have businesses and land. And one of the ambassadors is Jorge Torres from Interlink Trade Services. And a new friend of the station. So glad that after so many years, we're finally able to speak a lot more. And we're speaking a lot more recently because of trade and tariffs and Mr. Trump, all these T's that are out there. We're expecting maybe there will be some refunds in the near future. Part of what we expect will take place this summer is a review of International Trade Canada, the U.S. and Mexico, USMCA. So your customers that you have, the importers, just south of the border. What are they saying? What do they suspect? Are they working with various associations to try to protect this, that, and the other? As you had mentioned, auto is a big part, one big manufacturer nearby, and all the different tentacles that come from that. So what are your customers saying about the potential review of USMCA by this summer?
Well, the major consensus is that USMCA will continue, will be reviewed, and will have continuation. There's a lot of pressure from different industry groups, the automotive industry, the Index Nacional, the Mexican Maquiladora Association, the custom brokers, both in the U.S. and Mexico and Canada, we're all meeting and sending letters to Congress, putting pressure, making sure that they listen to us and that they continue with USMCA, because that's vital to our region. If we're going to create a regional bloc, having USMCA, it's critical. I know the president recently made some comments saying that USMCA is relevant for his policies, but the consensus by the private sector and most of the government, it's that it should continue.
What you were making reference to was a letter by the 300 or so different organizations, chambers of commerce from everywhere, manufacturing associations from everywhere, economic development offices, certain states and representatives, to the trade representative that is overseeing this and having conversations. There's a lot to talk about between here and there. In your conversations with the big fish around here, which is anybody related, linked to car manufacturing or component manufacturing, do they have a wish list? Have they expressed to you, well, we would like to see changes XYZ or protections for certain segments of our manufacturing sector?
Yes, well, they would like for the rules to stay the same for the rules of origin.
Okay.
Because a change in them will create a different set of rules and additional work. The other is Section 232 tariffs on aluminum and steel. As you know, the automotive industry in particular is a heavy user of aluminum and steel components. So they're pushing that because of USMCA, Mexico and Canada should be exempt from Section 232 tariffs, which will help alleviate some of the additional burdens of the automotive rules of origin. So those are some of the two elements that the automotive industry in particular it's fighting for. The status quo on the rules of origin for qualifying products and exemption from Section 232 tariffs.
I think the concern from many of these folks that are in manufacturing and importing and making sure they don't get slapped new tariffs or taxes for whatever it is that they're sending in, washing machines or cars. I think their biggest concern is that President Trump would say, screw it. I don't need you. I got a trade deal with the UK, I got a trade deal with the EU, I got a trade deal with the Philippines, with Vietnam. We're good. We're able to sell and sell. We don't need this. Do you see that happening where President Trump could walk away and say, we don't need this USMCA, we don't need NAFTA?
Well, he already mentioned that it is irrelevant. But
that could mean so many things.
That's exactly. Worst case scenario, if USMCA does not continue, there will have to be some bilateral agreements, U.S.-Mexico, U.S.-Canada, because there's no way we can get rid of trade relations between Mexico and the U.S. and U.S. and Canada. There is a lot of political pressure from the U.S. to Mexico, and that's one of the reasons why the president is making these comments and putting out all this press out there so that they can pressure Mexico to cave in on the issues such as border security, narco trafficking, all that stuff. So he's hoping that he'll get some positive impact by doing that under USMCA.
It seems to me, Jorge Torres with Interlink Trade Services, one of the ambassadors for the Rioplex private sector economic development initiative. Again, we're broadcasting from the Mid-Valley, the Sergio Show on 710 KURV. The political culture south of the border, yes, there might be nice conversations between Ms. Sheinbaum and President Trump, but Morena, the very leftist and power-hungry and regulatory-loving, socialist-minded, well, we need to bleed this in order to pay for these social programs, and let's tax and revisit the taxes on international manufacturing. I mean, there's so many negative things already taking place south of the border. I don't see this political culture in Mexico bending a knee to whatever it is that the president. I mean, I would have to. This is just me talking, not Jorge, but I would have to say, Mexico. We've known this for the longest time. The cartels run the government. Corruption, which is a human reality, whether it's Washington D.C. or here in Austin. It's a way of life. I mean, la mordida. That is Mexico. It's the way things run. It's probably as bad as in China and in Russia, but it's just part of the human failing. I just don't see the political culture south of the border cooperating to the point where the president can say, "Oh, okay, well, Mexico is going to be fighting the cartels, reducing the number of drugs coming into this country to the point where, okay, we can continue in a chummy business relationship with Mexico City." How do you see it?
Well, prior administrations in the U.S., both Democrat and Republican, have looked the other way and punted issues, acting on issues related to corruption and narco trafficking and all that in Mexico. But it's a new ballgame with President Trump. A lot of people are saying he's for real now, and he's using USMCA.
Nicolás Maduro would be one of the ones who say, "Yeah,
so
this dude's
that's
for
an
real."
example.
Yeah.
So it's not a game anymore for Mexico. And the President Sheinbaum is in a very hard spot because she has to satisfy the 4T de Morena movement, but she also has to look north and look at USMCA and the continuity and look at the foreign investments in Mexico, because at the end of the day, that's what generates the tax revenue in Mexico, and that's what generates jobs in Mexico. So she cannot totally ignore the U.S. and the trade relations with them by just ignoring what President Trump is requesting.
There's so many forces at play here. I'm thinking for national security reasons. China did a U-turn on all those boats with fever reducers and antibiotics and medical equipment and personal protection equipment. I still remember the ridiculous calls that we had on talk radio for local colleges like STC and high schools. Hey, you guys got some masks and personal protection? What local hospitals are out. They're desperate. They need all this. That's because, China, they were going to take care of their own. They were killing their own, but they hoarded everything for national security reasons. You'd think that there would be a priority to use Mexico, or I don't know, maybe we could set up something in El Salvador, since Bukele is such a big friend of the White House, something like that, where the Western Hemisphere can take care of this at light speed, much like they recognized up in Washington. We need to manufacture our own computer chips. We can't be dependent on China taking Taiwan, all that, which, by the way, I think the president announced a new trade with Taiwan, big time trade. But for now, it just seems like common sense, which I know is not very common with the politicians sometimes, but that's a priority, I would think. Pharma, medical equipment, medical protection. Bring it to the Western Hemisphere. We could use, Central America and Mexico for that.
Yes, COVID gave us one of the biggest lessons in supply chain and national security that we have probably seen in our history. So everyone's consensus was we cannot continue relying on China and Asia for critical materials such as pharmaceutical, medical devices, computer chips, etc. So the common sense approach is to use a regional bloc such as USMCA to provide the necessary commodities to be able to sustain or survive any future catastrophes such as the pandemic. And I know that the current administration realizes that. So that's why we're it's our opinion that one way or another, either USMCA will survive or there will be bilateral agreements. It's not that the president is saying, we don't need Mexico, we don't need Canada, we're going to look somewhere else, even though he might, mention that. But at the end of the day, he realizes that he still needs Mexico and Canada. Again, he's using USMCA as a political tool to get what he wants from Mexico.
Jorge Torres with Interlink Trade Services, expert on imports and exports. He's a custom broker. He's been doing this as long as I've been doing radio here at KURV. And since we have the AFC and NFC playoff games on KURV this weekend, including the Texans, go Texans. Since everybody bets on everything, including wars these days, they're betting on everything. Okay, we'll put it on the table. Where's your money? The high court's going to say no and give refunds. Or do you think they'll give the president the go ahead, keep doing what you're doing, and for the protection of our nation, you keep doing the whole thing? What do you say?
It's very difficult. I will say 50-50, but I'm going to go 51% on IEPA being struck down. And 49%.
Right.
So
I'm texting my bookie right down in Vegas. So I put a bet on the high court saying no to the president. Thanks for all your time, brother. And being a phone call away. And yes, Lord willing, I hope it's a weekday when we get the news soon and he's in town, because I'll bring him right on back and we'll see the fiery destruction of the U.S. economy burning in the atmosphere after the U.S. Supreme Court says no to the emergency tariffs. Thanks for joining us on the program, brother.
Thank you, Sergio.
Jorge Torres with Interlink Trade Services, the Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV with the good folks at RioFlex Economic Development. We're in the Mid-Valley. This hour of the program, a service of Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing.
Illegal aliens engaged in welfare fraud. Politicians lining their own pockets. Too many crooks stealing from the taxpayers. Republican Don Huffines says enough. As Texas Comptroller, Don Huffines will doge waste, fraud, and abuse and put the crooks who steal our tax dollars in jail where they belong. Don Huffines is a conservative businessman, and he'll bring a private sector mindset to state government. He will aggressively audit every government program, and Don Huffines will eliminate all taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens and abolish every DEI program in every government agency in Texas. Because Don Huffines is determined to stop politicians from wasting our money. Vote MAGA Trump Republican Don Huffines for Comptroller.
Political ad paid for by the Don Huffines campaign.
History is unfolding, and you're listening to it on News Talk 710 KURV, Edinburgh, McAllen, Harlingen, Brownsville.
A plan President Trump says health insurance companies don't like. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Because they spent hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're going to have that money spent to the people and given to the people.
President Trump touting a blueprint for reform he calls.
This is called officially the Great Healthcare Plan. That means low price and great healthcare.
Also touting at a roundtable this morning, $50 billion in rural health care funding,
which will benefit Americans in all 50 states. And this made possible and was made possible by cutting massive waste, fraud, and abuse from Medicaid.
Democrats have blamed the president and Republicans for allowing some Obamacare tax credits to expire last year, increasing the cost of coverage for millions of Americans. The president now has the Nobel Peace Prize. Maria Corina Machado gave it to him as a gift, telling Fox afterward,
I decided to present the Nobel Peace Prize medal on behalf of the people of Venezuela.
After the U.S. operation that ousted leader Nicolas Maduro, who persecuted Machado for her opposition push for democracy, which is the reason the Nobel Committee awarded her. The U.S. is sending an aircraft carrier to the Middle East as President Trump still considers taking action against Iran for a deadly crackdown on protesters that a hardline cleric wants to continue.
Ahmed Khatami's sermon was carried on Iran's state radio. In it, he called for demonstrators to be put to death, a call echoed by a chanting congregation. He described protesters as the butlers of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the soldiers of President Donald Trump. Americans and Zionists, Khatami added, should not expect peace.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Charlie Kirk's accused assassins due back in court today for another hearing.
Lawyers for Tyler Robinson argue because a prosecutor's adult child was at the Turning Point USA event when Charlie Kirk was shot and killed, they can't stand partial, therefore they should be removed. Prosecutors, though, are saying the adult child couldn't see who fired the shots and had no firsthand knowledge of the killing.
That's Jeff Paul. America's listening to Fox News.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Well, back to President Trump at that healthcare roundtable a few moments ago. He also called himself the tariff king and threatened to impose tariffs on countries that are against his U.S. takeover plan for Greenland. This following the foreign ministers of Greenland and Denmark, which controls that territory, going to Washington this week, pushing back on the president's push. The special envoy the president appointed for Greenland, Jeff Landry, tells Fox.
This is a president who masters deal making. And so, yes, I do believe that there's a deal that should and will be made once this plays out.
The president says the U.S. needs Greenland for national security, citing Russian and Chinese threats in the Arctic. And now Iceland is upset about what's happening.
Former congressman turned nominee to be ambassador to Iceland, Billy Long, says there was nothing serious about a reported quip made privately about Iceland becoming the 52nd state after Greenland becomes the 51st. Long telling the Alaska-based Arctic Today he apologizes for the comment if anyone took offense. Politico reports the Missouri Republican made the comment while visiting with congressional Republicans. Some in Iceland have started a petition for Long's nomination to be pulled by the Trump administration. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
It was another angry night in Minneapolis.
Protesters continue clashing with ICE outside a federal building in Minneapolis, where agitators tried smashing down protective fencing, then shooting fireworks at officers again Thursday. Protesters also clashing with a pro-ICE anti-illegal immigration group, with President Trump warning he may use the Insurrection Act to deploy the military, as some 3,000 federal agents are on the ground in Minneapolis taking part in deportation efforts, with continued calls from Democrats for ICE to leave. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
There is some selling on Wall Street. The Dow is down 76 points, the NASDAQ losing 20. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
News on 710 KURV is a service of Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District, UTRGV, and ECISD Collegiate High School, currently enrolling freshmen and sophomore students. For information, call 956-289-2300.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. It'll be breezy this morning, otherwise mainly sunny and warmer today with a high of 82. Winds from the southeast at 8 to 16 miles per hour. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, the low 49 to 59. Winds southwest 6 to 12 miles an hour. Another breezy start to the day tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high of 57 to 67. Intervals of clouds and sunshine on Sunday, the high near 65 degrees. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carrie Schwendenhammer on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
Whether it's rodeo in the amazing Dickies Arena, livestock and horse shows, Carnival Midway, or the Mattress Firm Petting Zoo, the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo is always the perfect fit for Western fun and entertainment. January 16th through February 7th at the Will Rogers Memorial Center in the heart of Fort Worth's Cultural District. There's food and fun for every taste, and don't forget the amazing rodeo shopping vendors and live music in the Michelob Ultra Roadhouse on Simmons Bank Plaza. Go to FWSSR.com for more information. It's the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo presented by North Texas Chevy Dealers, Reliant, Choctaw Casinos and Resorts, Dickies, Simmons Bank, and Texas Health. The Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. This thing is legendary.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710, KURV. From the Radio United Broadcast Center, this is the Sergio Show. Talking about the news headlines and topics that affect you. And now, the Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez.
From the chairman's desk, which is now on remote, we're in the Mid-Valley, accompanying the good folks from the Rioplex, Private Sector Economic Development Initiative. Hour 2 of the Sergio Show on 710 KURV on this beautiful Friday. And if you think it's pretty now, my goodness, it's going to be a lot prettier this weekend. It's going to be highs in the 60s, lows in the 40s tonight. Your station for AccuWeather, News Talk 710 KURV. I need to say thank you to our supporters this hour. Big thank you to South Texas Buick GMC and Lone Star National Bank. As I mentioned, we are following this private sector economic development push. This is entering year 2. This effort is entering year 2. We were blessed to accompany them when they went to Houston back in April. They'll have another big trip to several places to try to go door knocking with business and international attaches, see if we can get some more industry in South Texas. So many wonderful things happening in South Texas, but we cannot afford to have local cities continue their Friday night football mentality and be little islands here and there. We got to work as a region because, as Judge Richard Cortez had mentioned here, one of the opening speakers of the Rioplex meeting that's taking place here in the Mid-Valley, we got to work together because we got a lot of competition. And he joins me right now, and I say Happy New Year to our friend Judge Richard Cortez, Hidalgo County, joining us on the program. Thanks for. How's your Christmas? How's your New Year's celebration, Judge?
Sir, thank you for having me here. It's a wonderful time of the year. It's always wonderful to be with family and friends and enjoying a very special day in the calendar.
You were telling these 24 ambassadors and other folks that are in business and big decision makers in the area, if we don't work together, Houston's going to, you didn't say it this in your words, I'm saying it, I'm kind of paraphrasing what you said. Houston's going to kick our butt. Dallas is going to kick our butt. Austin, everybody else, as our big markets. Well, because we got a lot of competition. We got to lock arms. Got to work together to bring some industry down here.
Well, I didn't say it like that. You said it better than I did.
He didn't say but
that's what I meant.
And it's good to see regional efforts like this. We have, for example, COSTEP. We have the Rio Grande Valley Partnership. We have Rioplex trying to combine private sector efforts with the efforts of county and economic development offices as well. We're hoping for good things because things are happening. As I said last time, Texas, #1 destination point. Brownsville, McAllen, number 10 destination point in the country, according to U-Haul. All the trucks coming one way, coming this way. So jobs are coming, industry's coming. But we need to lock arms to work together because we have the resources. But unless they see us as a unified front, we'll continue to lose to the big market. So what are your hopes and prayers and dreams for the Rioplex economic development efforts in 26?
Well, we have various goals. One of them, obviously, is to have us work together because, as I said in my presentation this morning, I said everything that you find in Rioplex is very significant, and I think that it puts us in a very competitive situation to compete with other larger metro areas. But no city or no county by themselves has what Rioplex can offer. So if Rioplex has more to offer, why would you offer anything less than that if we want to be competitive with other areas? And I think that we have the proper leadership throughout those regions, that they see the value of doing that. The question now is, how do we package it? How do we deliver the message? In other events that we've had, it's not only coming up with the right message, but it's to deliver the message to the right people. And that's our next step in this process. That's why we created the ambassador group. And the ambassador group is going to be tasked with creating the message and delivering the message to the right people.
Judge, Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez is my guest. And are you an ambassador for the program, or just participating in it because you got the Prosperity Task Force from Hidalgo County trying to fight poverty with the real solution, which is a job, a good paying job?
Technically, I'm not designated as an ambassador, but I will be making some of the trips.
And for folks who are catching up to speed, maybe new to the area, the Prosperity Task Force, the purpose of that was set up shortly after COVID. Actually, the idea was
actually before.
Right before, but COVID shut us down for a while. But so we put some legs to it.
Yes.
It finally put committees to address very specific branches of how to approach it. Explain to folks, working folks, what the Prosperity Task Force is.
Well, the Prosperity Task Force basically has three global goals. One is to serve the people that need the most help, and we have a great percentage of those. But the second part is how do we help people out of poverty? And the only way we can do that is to create human capital among all of us. So goal number two is produce human capital. But we can't produce human capital only to lose it somewhere else. And that's what's happened in with a lot of our college graduates. You know, we have this negative migration. They're going somewhere else because the jobs are not here. So the third goal is to bring the jobs, to bring investment to this area. So this is where RioPlex came out of this necessity. How can we best do that? And we felt that creating this regional effort of combining South Texas with Northern Mexico gave us the best number of assets to be able to present to outside investors.
And one of those branches, one of those assets, the pools, is education, technical education and training, quick turnaround, whatever curriculum is needed. Because if you combine what we have here in Southern Texas, Northern Mexico, man, that's like tens and tens and tens of thousands of college students that we have.
We live in a very dynamic time of the history of mankind. I mean, the jobs of today are not going to be the jobs of tomorrow. I did an economic analysis the other day that showed that the United States was going to need 250,000 commercial truck drivers. Imagine that. The U.S. is in need of 250,000 commercial truck drivers. You know what's going to happen to those jobs in 10 years? They're going to be gone.
Automated. Yeah. They're already driving in highways between Dallas and Houston.
They're going to be gone. So we have to, our goals have to be goals for today, goals for tomorrow, and goals for the future.
Yeah.
And they're all different.
Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez, my guest. On the topic of education, Gilbert Salinas, the Chief of Economic Development in Brownsville, had him as a guest like 2-3 days back. And he had a recruitment session with one of those potential game-changing, another, as if Elon Musk wasn't game-changing, as if LNG wasn't game-changing. Well, let's hope and pray that maybe they can land this one. They had another potential game-changing recruitment effort, another industry coming to the area. What I want to get to is those folks who were in on a Saturday eating barbacoa and enjoying pan dulce and talking with various, Dr. Solis from STC. We had probably Dr. Bailey, somebody from the university was there, but also TSTC and Texas Southmost College and a lot of education institutions were sitting. These folks who were looking at our area, looking at Brownsville specifically, they walked away like minds blown. How ready, how effective, how efficient, the synergy that has been created. It's taken a long time to create that, but it's here now. We talked about it maybe 2 decades ago, but it's here now. And they're ready to educate their workforce on high technical skill jobs and training curriculums. That's part of the assets that we have is on the education side. We got the young folks. We can train them real quick for those high-tech jobs.
Sure. Sergio, I'm really excited about what we're doing in attracting that outside investment. last year we had a very successful program called Social Fest. I don't know if you attended it. It was at the McAllen Convention Center, and I have never seen all the streets, all of the parking spaces not in McAllen, in the Mission Event Center. I apologize, Mission. In the Mission Event Center, they were full. They were full to capacity, and all of these were mostly young people from all over the United States that came down to the Rio Grande Valley for Social Fest. And I spoke to the organizers of that event, in fact, last week, and they asked me if the county was going to continue to support them, and we said absolutely, because one of our goals for Rioplex, myself, and the Prosperity Task Force is how do we attract young talent over here? Not only do we want to create young talent and human capital with the people we have here, we want to bring them from other parts of the area. And for us to do that, we have to have opportunity and quality of life. So tell me if working regionally is not the answer, because no city, no county can do those things by themselves, but together we can.
The various assets that we need in order to attract industry. Yeah, we got the people, we got the education, water, electricity, and some of those resources that we need to hyper focus on. Everybody needs water. Everybody's demanding more power. And with high tech that's really, really hungry, power hungry, and real thirsty, let's address those issues, I don't know, locally or at the state level, what we can do in order to make sure that we land those industries.
Well, when you go to the state or the federal government and ask for things, okay, you go ask for those things as a region, okay? And again, we're competing with the Houston metro area, Dallas, Fort Worth metro area, San Antonio. When we go here, we cannot go as Edinburgh or McAllen or Mission or Brownsville. We have to go here as a region, and we're going to be successful. Data centers take a huge amount of power. And there's a debate going on right now, and that's something that I'm wrestling with. Do you encourage a data center to come here, which would be a huge ad valorem tax asset for us to tax, but with not so much employment? So do we use the power that we do have for one of those investments, or do we hold and wait for potentially an industrial company to come here that needs that power that will create more employment? So all of those things are the things that we need to sit down and weigh the value of both things so we can make better decisions.
Most of these institutions probably would have the capacity to bring their own power generation. They could probably do, I don't know, some windmills, some solar, something like that, to juice up their machines, I would imagine.
Well, that's why one size doesn't always fit all. That's why we have to look at each item and each project individually.
Judge Richard Cortez, we're broadcasting from the Mid-Valley with the Rioplex Private Sector Economic Development Initiative. They're having a meeting today, catching up to speed, looking at 2026, some of the goals and projects they have coming up to help recruit. It's a gargantuan, it's a unified effort to try to recruit industry. So I mentioned at the beginning, Judge, of course, we got good folks at COSTEP, and they got their little clusters that they're looking at and doing an analysis on industry that's in the region. You got the Rio Grande Valley Partnership and their efforts to try to promote our region as well. Rioplex also talking about regionalism. We've seen the positive results from regionalism when it comes to the planning organizations, right? The transportation dollars that we have access to now. We're the number 5 market in Texas when it comes to, because we're unified in the effort to try to land some of these transportation dollars. Let me take you back to something you and I talked about 20 some odd years ago when you were mayor. One metropolitan statistical area, one MSA. We probably have the metrics already on the daily commute from people going from Hidalgo County to work at the port every single day. That alone is probably enough for us to go ahead and pull the trigger on this. So you want that to happen? One MSA, Brownsville, McAllen area, Hidalgo County, Cameron County, one MSA. Maybe that might help us to sell this area as a region.
Personally, I think that makes a lot of sense because that's what we are.
How do we make it happen?
Well, the leadership has to get together and make it happen and ask for it.
When you say like Council of Governments or anybody that pays a subscription over at the Rio Grande Valley Partnership, or how do we do this?
Well, first of all, the MPOs that we have now should all come back together. Is one. All of our regional infrastructure entities should come together, as well as the counties, and says, hey, we think this is the best way to market ourselves. If we're going to compete with other larger metro areas, then we need to have comparable numbers.
Do we have to wait till the next census? We have to wait till 30 and say, oh, over the past 5 years, we've had a lot of jobs, a lot of people doing commute back and forth between Hidalgo County.
I don't think so, Sergio. Everything requires leadership, and that's what we need. We need leadership to make things happen.
Do we need it? Do we need the one MSA designation?
I think it would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Because it combines rooftops, it shows numbers as far as population, education level.
A lot of people that don't know about us look at numbers. Before they come here, they look at numbers. And if we're not in the list of big metro areas and they're looking for a large metro area, then we're not in the list. we need to get in the list to be looked at.
As you and colleagues and friends and folks who are decision makers in business and in government make a decision on where to go in 2026, what industries to go after, are there some sectors that you would say, the low-hanging fruit is there? That's where we should go as a Rioplex delegation. We should go there. Like, which industries do you focus on? Already ag is getting a good, and there are results in ag. There was a Michoacan delegation that promised more business in the near future, but what other industries?
Sergio, you always ask good questions, but let me tell you this. I'm asking the same questions that you're asking. Mm. To me, as I said earlier in this conversation, we have three types of goals: the goals that I need to do today, the goals I have for tomorrow, and the goals that I have for my future. Why go recruit a company today that we cannot serve? Okay, if they want things that we don't have, why are we recruiting that company today?
Yeah, they won't even.
We don't have what they want, so that tells us what we need to go after that we don't have. So that gives us a list of the things that we need to add to our repertoire of assets to be able to attract other types of industries that we can't serve, and that is precisely what my office is working on to answer the question that you just asked me.
And on the county level, I'd be remiss if I don't give you a couple of minutes. If you want to mention anything taken at the courthouse, any new initiatives with jail, sheriff's office, on the agenda for 2026. So it's one of the three major goals for the county in 2026.
Well, we do have some issues of overcrowding in our jails that we have to figure out. We're looking into an expansion for our jail for sure. I think we've got some kinks in the new courthouse. Everybody loves it. I think it's been very efficient. There's a lot of efficiency in the courthouse, but there's still some things we need to work out. Mobility, boy, coming here to Weslaco from McAllen and seeing all the cars moving east and west, man, we need to really look at mobility, because that's going to be a detriment if we don't fix it.
We are way behind the curve on that one. Yeah.
And this is what I tell all of the people in the business. It says, look, if we have aggressive leadership that wants to move something to their area, and that's their job, obviously, to advocate for their area, but we're never going to solve our mobility issues if we think politics. We have to let the science of fixing mobility dictate where we invest our money.
Yeah, you mentioned mobility and the fat freeways, all the traffic's on there. One of the recent conversations was the connector routes, more direct connector routes. From the bridges, all these trucks, get them on the interstate, get them at Ahoy, get them out of here.
I can tell you that if we don't add more infrastructure east and west, then it's going to be a huge problem.
What is that they've been saying? The Rio Grande Valley is going to be like San Antonio by 2035. If you look at the traffic morning and evening, it already is.
We're there.
At least on the traffic jams, already is. Hey, Judge, thanks for coming over. I'll let you go back.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Get some information out there. That's Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez. Again, we're broadcasting from the Mid-Valley. We're accompanying the good folks from the Rioplex Private Sector Economic Development Initiative. The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV, made possible this hour by South Texas Buick GMC. Big thank you as well to Lone Star National Bank.
Your Houston Texans visit the New England Patriots, the AFC Divisional Playoffs.
Stroud looking, throwing over the middle. A touchdown, Houston!
Coverage begins at 1:30 Sunday afternoon on News Talk 710 KURV.
This 2026, start in style at South Texas Buick GMC. Drive a GMC Sierra for $125 a month or a Buick Encore GX for $179 a month. GMC, we are professional grade. Visit us at southtexasgmc.com or call 661-5000. Sherry Road exit between McAllen and Mission. Celebrating 20 years with you. South Texas Buick GMC. Not the biggest, just the best.
We know your business needs more than just advertising. It needs results. At 710 KURV, we connect your brand with the right audience, the ones who actually buy. We offer powerful radio stations, active social media, streaming, digital products, fun promotions, and local influencers that truly connect with your customers. We're the most recognized and effective radio and multimedia group in the Rio Grande Valley and Northern Mexico. And we're ready to help you plan a year full of success for your business or product. Call 956-992-8895 or visit radiounited.com.
Palm Valley Animal Society presents the 52nd Annual Puppy Love Gala, an evening in Venice. Join us as we honor Keeley and Byron J. Lewis and celebrate compassion, community, and life-saving work for pets across the Rio Grande Valley. Enjoy dinner, auctions, live entertainment, and the magic of the Venetian Carnival, all for a cause that saves lives. Learn more at pvastx.org/puppylove or email puppylovegala@pvastx.org.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
Thank you, Brownsville, and thank you, Rio Grande Valley, for listening today to News Talk 710 KURV, the Valley's official home for Fox News Radio.
The Sergio Show, News Talk 710 KURV. We're on the road. We're in the Mid-Valley with the Rioplex Economic Development effort. They're having a meeting right now talking about 2026 goals and looking at the market, education issues, and infrastructure issues as well. Had a chance to say a quick hello to Jaime Longoria. He's with the Community Service Office in Hidalgo County, and I'm going to bring him back in the morning show here pretty soon. I just want to get a quick hello with Jaime because I missed the most recent awards ceremony and real life, real human examples of folks who get skilled up, get new skills, and are climbing out of poverty, literally climbing out of poverty-stricken situation with training opportunities. So just a quick tease, and welcome back to the program. Happy New Year, Jaime. I appreciate that you're here with a Rioplex, because this is part of the solution. The solution to poverty is employment, skills, real jobs.
Absolutely. It's a cross-pollination, Sergio, if you will, of working with industry, working with education, working with community-based organizations, that all of us together in those sectors can kind of cross-pollinate. And, you know, the exciting stories that you're talking about, These are families that were struggling, living in poverty.
Yeah.
And some individuals that had no high school diploma, we got a high school diploma for them. And at the same time that they're getting their high school diploma, they're getting an industry certification. We got one kid who went from no diploma to getting a diploma, getting a welding certificate, getting a job, and a six-figure income all in 1 year. You know, so we celebrated 31 of those kids that got a high school diploma, and we celebrated 22 families that went from one level of income and out of poverty. So two different kinds of stories that we celebrated at that gala.
You going to be in town next week?
Absolutely.
Okay. How about the week after that? Just to make sure.
I'll be around.
It's political season and the calendar fills up really fast with a bunch of people running for office. That's the reason. But I want to get you on the morning show. Maybe bring 3-4 of the most emotional, compelling examples.
We'd love to do that.
Changes.
I'd love to tell those stories. And, you know, all of these sectors working together. You know, we're working with Region 1. We're working with university. We're working with community college. We're working with the kids themselves and the families.
Yeah.
So the most important ingredient that I tell these kids and I tell these families, you got to have ganas. You got to have the will.
What a blessing that we have so many jobs at the Port of Brownsville. What a blessing that we have. Our neighbor, Elon Musk, love him or hate him, people, that dude deserves more than just a little statue. He deserves like a 50-foot statue with moving arms and lasers coming out of his eyes. SpaceX has been transformative for our economy, which, yes, some of these welding gigs, they go to the port or they go to work for Elon, but it's not just welding, it's so many different trades, allied health and health services, things like that. And there are amazing, heart-wrenching, inspiring stories to be told. The community service office working with all these institutions, trying to air traffic control. Okay, we got these people, put them over here. Got all these people, put them over here. And like I said, adult education like never before. Region 1, I had Dr. Mario Salinas from Edinburgh CISD, how they're using the welding bays, the career technology, beautiful campus, to train the parents of the boys and girls who are becoming welders. The parents are going night school through South Texas College at Edinburgh CISD. And that's just another example, because we got all these adult high schools in the area too. Now there's new adult high school programs.
Absolutely. Working with Possible Dream Foundation.
Beautiful.
So we get calls all the time. I've got people that work for me that we're loaning out to Possible Dream to make phone calls, and families are talking to us about the barriers that they're experiencing. So our agency removes the barriers, puts them into Possible Dream to be able to help them get their high school diploma.
Thank you for stopping by, saying hello. I'll get you back in there. That way you can listen to all the Real Place conversation. We'll have you on the show here, Lord willing, in your future.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for saying Jaime Longoria is with the Community Service Agency with Hidalgo County. The time is 10:35. The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. This hour made possible by Lone Star National Bank and South Texas Buick GMC.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Whether it's rodeo in the amazing Dickies Arena, livestock and horse shows, Carnival Midway, or the Mattress Firm Petting Zoo, the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo is always the perfect fit for Western fun and entertainment. January 16th through February 7th at the Will Rogers Memorial Center in the heart of Fort Worth's Cultural District. There's food and fun for every taste, and don't forget the amazing rodeo shopping vendors and live music in the Michelob Ultra Roadhouse on Simmons Bank Plaza. Go to FWSSR.com for more information. It's the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo presented by North Texas Chevy Dealers, Reliant, Choctaw Casinos and Resorts, Dickies, Simmons Bank, and Texas Health. The Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. This thing is legendary.
Illegal aliens engaged in welfare fraud. Politicians lining their own pockets. Too many crooks stealing from the taxpayers. Republican Don Huffines says enough. As Texas Comptroller, Don Huffines will doge waste, fraud, and abuse and put the crooks who steal our tax dollars in jail where they belong. Don Huffines is a conservative businessman, and he'll bring a private sector mindset to state government. He will aggressively audit every government program, and Don Huffines will eliminate all taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens and abolish every DEI program in every government agency in Texas. Because Don Huffines is determined to stop politicians from wasting our money. Vote MAGA Trump Republican Don Huffines for comptroller.
Political ad paid for by the Don Huffines campaign.
Save more with the #1 team in Texas, Ogden Buick GMC in Edinburgh. Take advantage of amazing savings and drive a new 2026 Buick Encore for just $149 a month. You heard right, just $149 a month. Plus, ask how you can make no payments for 90 days. We know who's #1, you, our valued customer. Come see Billy Kelly and his amazing team in Edinburgh today. We shop the competition so you don't have to at the #1 team in Texas. Come find out why Buick is exceptional by design today at Ogden Buick GMC in Edinburgh.
Dale gas!
Hi there, my name's Tony Bolstead. My wife and I, Carol, own Sand Monsters. We'd like you to come on out and have fun. We've got a half-mile long track out here. It runs across about 3.5 acres. Have adult cars and kid cars, getting laps in, learning how to drive on the sand. And we also lease space to Redline Helicopters is one of our tenants here, and they've got a pad and they do helicopter tours. Lone Star National Bank and the team there really helped us get this thing put together, answered all our questions, huge help.
I am Stephanie Harrison. I am the second generation owner of Sisters Interiors on South Padre Island. We had always dreamed of owning our own land and owning our own building, using our design team to create what you see here today. That's how we got involved with Lone Star National Bank. We partnered with them and they helped us, create the dream.
Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com. Again, that's careers.progressive.com.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. All options on the table is the White House response on several fronts. 36 European troops hold a joint exercise in Greenland. Will the U.S. plant the flag? The president's envoy to Greenland, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, tells Fox.
I think he's laid the markers down. He's told Denmark what he's looking for. And now it's a matter of having Secretary Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance make a deal.
The president's still deciding on his response to Iran's regime killing protesters, moving military assets in the region, and whether to invoke the Insurrection Act on Minnesota anti-ICE protests. But today he's touting a $50 billion grant for rural health care and rolling out what he calls the Great Health Care Plan at a lower price, which includes making providers post how much procedures cost before. Know before you go. America's listening to Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. Plenty of sunshine and warmer this afternoon. The high 82. Winds from the southeast at 8 to 16 miles per hour. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. Low 52 to 61. Rather cloudy, breezy, and cooler tomorrow. A few showers. High 62 to 66. Clouds and sunshine on Sunday. High 68. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dan Pedinowski on the Valley's official weather station 710 KURV.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. The Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez. Rapid fire headlines.
Broadcasting from the Mid-Valley, we're accompanying the folks from the Rio Plex Private Sector Economic Development Initiative. The Sergio Show on 710 KURV. Quick look at some of the headlines. The state of Texas is coming up with some egg-citing news for some local food banks.
Remember the great egg panic of 2020? While we were all learning how to bake sourdough, Texas says one egg company was scrambling prices, hiking the cost of a dozen eggs by as much as 300%. Attorney General Ken Paxton sued Cal-Maine Foods for price gouging. Now the company's been ordered to donate more than 2 million eggs to food banks across the state, most going to Houston and Dallas. The East Texas and Rio Grande Valley food banks will get 10,000 dozen. The West Texas, High Plains, West Central Texas, Golden Crescent food banks will get about 2,000 dozen eggs.
I'm reminded of my dad. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Lord, for such a beautiful man. That's all my dad would eat was eggs. A la mexicana with migas, whatever, just eggs, right? That's how he saved a lot of money. He built himself a beautiful new house in Deer Park, Texas before he passed away. Wow. He never went out to eat, my dad. He just eat eggs. He would have gone bankrupt during the COVID thing, man. 300% increase. All right, from encouraging news to disturbing news. Check this out. 4 Uber drivers in Houston are accused of raping female passengers.
The men targeted under a new local and federal program dubbed Operation Lighthouse. Nicholas Ganji, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Texas, says a fundamental feature of ride-share service is safety.
And when a driver abuses his trust by using his position of power to sexually assault a passenger, particularly when incapacitated or otherwise unable of defending herself, they cease being service providers and become predators.
He says all 4 allegedly kidnapped their passengers either by diverting from the intended route or preventing the victims from leaving the rideshare vehicle. One of the men was indicted for 2 different assaults, one in 2021 and one in 2023. If convicted, all 4 drivers face up to life in federal prison. Barbara Schwartz, News Talk 710 KURV.
President Trump has a Nobel Peace Prize now. Well, technically, it's his because it's been gifted to him. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado gifted her 2025 Nobel Peace Prize to President Trump after visiting the White House. And congratulations to H.E. Butt, H-E-B, claiming the top spot when it comes to grocery stores. This is a national survey. Let's see how many years. For the folks at this customer data company released their 9th annual retailer preference index. They ranked H.E. Butt number 1 for the 4th straight year, followed by something called Market Basket, Woodman's. We know what Costco is, and of course we know what Aldi is as well. So congratulations to H.E. Butt, number 1 when it comes to grocery stores in the country. I agree. I love H.E. Butt. Time is 10:43. The Sergio Show on 710 KURV. This hour of the program, a service of South Texas Buick GMC. Big thank you as well to Lone Star National Bank. We're broadcasting from the Mid-Valley with the Rioplex Private Sector Economic Development Initiative.
Illegal aliens engaged in welfare fraud. Politicians lining their own pockets. Too many crooks stealing from the taxpayers. Republican Don Huffines says enough. As Texas Comptroller, Don Huffines will doge waste, fraud, and abuse and put the crooks who steal our tax dollars in jail where they belong. Don Huffines is a conservative businessman, and he'll bring a private sector mindset to state government. He will aggressively audit every government program, and Don Huffines will eliminate all taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens and abolish every DEI program in every government agency in Texas. Because Don Huffines is determined to stop politicians from wasting our money. Vote MAGA Trump Republican Don Huffines for Comptroller.
Political ad paid for by the Don Huffines campaign.
December can be so busy that we do not get to slow down and fully enjoy Christmas. We are inviting you to join us January 17th, 18th, 24th, or 25th to experience the peace of January and the beauty of Christmas. At Christmas in January, you'll be greeted by Christmas music, go on a hayride, eat some fun food, ride 12-plus carnival rides, shop 50-plus local vendors, participate in a snowball fight, go on a horse or pony ride, drink some hot chocolate, bash a car with a sledgehammer, and watch a Christmas light show synchronized to music with a message of hope. For more information, go to stadium4319.com or bigredsranch.com. This event will be held in Rio Hondo, Texas at Stadium 4319, a new event venue here in the RGV. Big Reds Ranch staff will be hosting Christmas in January, and all proceeds go towards summer camps for kids. Again, visit BigRedsRanch.com for more details.
Join us Saturday, January 17th for the upcoming McAllen Marathon 2026. Presented by HEB Helping Here. Sign up for the 5K, 10K, full, half, or relay marathons. Experience a global run with participants from all over the world right here in McAllen. Enjoy route entertainment, food